Those business books on your shelf, yep, they're bestsellers for a reason, but none of them show you the psychology that quietly runs your business or wrecks it.
And that's because most people think strategy, branding, hustle. But the real reason smart founders still fail is what's happening up here, and they don't even see it.
So by the end of this video, you'll see exactly how your mind is wired to sabotage your success and how to rewire it to finally build what you're truly capable of.
So if you've done guessing and you're ready to actually fix this, keep watching, because what we show you next, it's what turns hesitation into momentum. Let me ask you this. Ever wonder why some of the smartest people get stuck and why their ideas never leave the notebook? It's not about talent, nor is it about time. It comes down to one thing, and that's how you think, what you believe about control. Is it in your hands or is it in somebody else's? And that one belief, it shapes every decision you make. There's a business name for this. It's called Locus of control. The risk takers, they're internal thinkers. They move, they build before perfect. External thinkers, they wait, they analyze, they talk themselves out of the game before they even get on the pitch.
And there's actual psychology behind that as well. In 1954, Julian Rotter came up with a theory called Locus of control, and it explains why two people with the same idea can take totally different paths. One believes they drive results, the other thinks it's all down to timing, luck, or what someone else decides.
And that's because internal means I can figure this out, I can make progress, even if it's messy, even if it's slow. But the external aspect says I can't do anything until I get funding, until I know more, until the stars line up.
If you plan endlessly, if you wait for perfect timing, if you check everything twice but still don't launch, that's a clue.
Yeah, you're probably stuck in an external loop, waiting for green lights on a road that you haven't even started driving on.
And if you tend to build quietly, if you hold back until it all feels safe, you might be what we call a cautious creator.
Now, there's nothing wrong with being cautious. Cautious creators are smart, they're careful, they're very strategic. But that same strength, it can hold you back if deep down you don't believe the outcome is really in your own hands. And that belief often starts early, very early. Maybe a parent told you not to dream too big. A teacher, they punished your mistakes. A boss that made you play small. Playing it safe became the way to earn praise, to stay liked, and sometimes to stay invisible.
So here's what it looks in real life. Someone's got a great idea, but they're stuck. They say, I just need a better setup, better branding, the right time. They're not lazy, they just don't believe they can control the result.
Yeah, we've seen it. Ellie, for instance, was a brilliant baker, but every week she had a new reason not to start her business. The kitchen's not ready. I need a proper website. I'll wait for better weather. Weeks passed, nothing sold.
Then she posted one photo, just one, on Instagram, and the orders started coming in. And that moment, it changed everything for her. She stopped waiting and she started building. She moved from external to internal.
Yeah, and look at someone that's really well known, like James Dyson. He created over 5,000 prototypes before he got it right. That's not luck, that's the internal locus. That's belief in process.
Ellie didn't stop being cautious, she just acted anyway. And that's the real shift.
We call it the waiting game trap. Smart people stuck in prep mode because they're wired to wait for those green lights that never come.
So here's the shift. Internal thinkers don't wait for certainty. They trust that clarity comes through action.
So ask yourself, do I believe I can control the outcome? Or am I still waiting for signs, for permission, for perfect? If your notebook's full of ideas but nothing shipped, that's not failure, that's your wiring. And once you name it, you can change it.
And if you're nodding right now, while you're still waiting to post that thing you've been sitting on for 6 weeks, then yes, that's you.
Yeah, and start small. Just one post, one call, one customer.
That's how progress begins. It's not with perfect, is it? It's just with something.
Because confident builders, they start before they're ready.
So what's your one thing this week? Pick it, do it, and prove to yourself you're already building.
So once you've done that, you've made that first move, or at least named what's holding you back. Let's go one level deeper, because mindset's just the beginning. The real breakthroughs, they come when you start to see what's driving it all beneath the surface.
In section 1, we looked at control, what drives your actions. Now, let's look at the traps, those hidden thinking patterns that sabotage your decisions. Psychologists call them cognitive biases. They're not flaws, they're survival shortcuts that misfire in business.
And this is why smart people sabotage their own business without realizing it. They trust instinct in places that really need evidence.
Let's start with one that you've probably heard of, confirmation bias. You only listen to what proves you right. So someone says, this logo is confusing, and your brain replies, they just don't get it.
And if you're still arguing about why your business card font had to be gold foil, you spent 2 weeks choosing that font. That font means something now. You'd rather burn the business than change it.
Or maybe your partner pointed out a typo and now they don't understand your vision.
Yeah, that's a really good example of something we call sunk cost fallacy. You've spent 6 months building something that no one asked for, but you decide to keep going because you've already spent 6 months.
Yeah, like trying to sell your handmade soap after realising you're actually allergic to your own bloomin' ingredients. But hey, you've got the labels now, might as well push on.
We once worked with a guy who dropped thousands of pounds on luxury packaging. Problem was, nobody wanted what was inside. But instead of pivoting, he doubled down on the ad spend. That's not strategy, that's ego in a lab coat.
Yeah, you know it's gone too far when the packaging's nicer than the product. It's like trying to sell biscuits in a Rolex box. You see it all the time in business. People defending the dream, even when the data's begging them to pivot.
Yeah, Canadian clinical psychologist Jordan Peterson says this as well. He says, when your identity fuses with your idea, letting go feels like death. So instead of changing, you defend it harder.
Yeah, it's right. And psychologist Dr. Gad Saad, he calls it ideological entrenchment. Really long word for a very good idea. It's like planting your flag on the wrong hill and building a castle there.
Exactly. You build the idea into your identity as well, not just a hill. So changing your mind, well, that's going to be really difficult because it feels like you're cutting your own arm off.
And if you catch yourself defending a failing decision harder, the longer it doesn't work, you might be what we call a stubborn strategist.
Yeah, and what's the antidote? Stop arguing like a preacher. Start thinking like a scientist.
Now, psychologist Adam Grant says it as well. He says it really well. Your idea isn't your identity. It's just a hypothesis. And it's okay to update it when the data shifts. Think like a scientist. Test the idea. Don't marry it. You want a pilot run, not a honeymoon.
Daniel Kahneman, he's a Nobel Prize winner, and he said pretty much the same thing. He says, the best thinkers don't just ask if they're right, they ask, where might I have gone wrong?
So if you're stuck defending the dream, try this. Run a mental pre-mortem. Imagine your idea failed and then ask why.
It's like inviting disaster in for a cup of tea and just long enough to ask, what would you like to wreck first? That's a tool from psychologist Gary Klein. It helps you spot the cracks before reality exposes those.
Because clarity doesn't come from clinging harder. It comes from letting go of what's not working. And that's not weakness, it's growth. So if your thinking can trip you up without realizing, what else might be shaping your choices without you seeing it?
Because sometimes it's not just how we think, It's who we think we are that drives the business we build. Let's now move this on from solo psychology to social psychology. We ask the question, what actually keeps teams going? Or why do they fall apart? And what about solo founders that feel like a team of one? One of the key ideas here is psychological safety. Harvard professor Amy Edmondson says people don't speak up unless it feels safe to be wrong. That applies to your team and, importantly, to you.
Most people think that team culture is about perks, pizza on Fridays, branded hoodies. But real culture is built on trust. It's about feeling safe enough to say, I'm stuck, or I've got an idea, without worrying that someone's going to shoot you down.
When people feel heard, they come alive. When they feel judged, well, they'll start to shut down. It's that simple.
And here's the part most people miss. This still applies if you work in solo. How you treat yourself, how you respond to your own ideas, that sets the tone.
If your inner voice sounds like your worst ever manager, you're probably a reluctant leader. You're the boss, you're the staff, you're the HR department as well. And somehow it still feels like you're underperforming. Or maybe you're a driven doubter. You get plenty done, but switching off, that feels like failure. You feel guilty resting, like you need permission just to stop. You're the one answering emails during yoga. Namaste, just not right now. Self-compassion isn't about being soft, it's about fueling your drive in a better way. Less pressure, more progress.
Kindness expert Dr. Christian Neff will call that a lack of self-compassion. But this isn't about letting yourself off the hook. It's about fueling your ambition with something more sustainable. Not pressure, clarity. Not punishment, progress.
And when it comes to teams, the research backs this up. Teresa Amabile at Harvard found that the number one motivator isn't money, nor is it praise. It's just progress. Even a small step forward gives people momentum. That quiet sense of we're moving in the right direction. So if your team's waiting to be heard, or you're waiting to switch off, that's a safety gap. And it starts with how you lead yourself.
So lead with encouragement, not just critique. Look for progress and not perfection, because how you lead yourself sets the tone for everything else. And most high performers, they treat themselves like faulty equipment, kick it, shout at it, and wonder why nothing's flowing.
Yeah, and Jordan Peterson says it as well. Treat yourself like someone you're responsible for helping. But most founders, they don't. They treat themselves like interns on probation.
Yeah.
All clipboards, pressure, no compassion, and then wonder why they're exhausted. You don't need more motivation. You need to fire that inner manager.
Self-compassion isn't fluff, it's fuel. When your drive comes from meaning, not fear, you don't just last longer, you lead better.
And when you're working with others, it's not about status, it's about contribution. Peterson calls it a competence hierarchy, where respect is earned through doing. That's progress, permission, purpose. That's what builds momentum that lasts. So you've seen how mindset fuels motivation and how safety shapes performance, but even the best mindset can fall apart without clear thinking.
Next, we're going to explore how great decision making works, the mental filters and habits that shape what you build, and how far it takes you.
We once worked with a guy. He was really clever, thoughtful, very well organised, and he spent a full year building an online course. Now, every module, it was perfectly colour-coded. Outlines, they were pristine, but he never launched. And why is that? He kept saying, it's not quite right yet, or just need to tighten a few slides. But it wasn't about readiness, it was about avoidance. He was avoiding it, and it was wrapped up in good intentions. So he couldn't see that. And what he needed was clarity, because he thought clarity would come with more planning. But in reality, it comes from committing, from choosing, then you do the adjusting.
And this is where it gets sneaky, because smart people don't mean to sabotage their own businesses. They just get stuck in the thinking loop. You try to hold every option in your head. You second guess, you stall. Psychologists call this decision fatigue. Your brain wears out, so it either freezes or it picks the familiar path, even if it's wrong.
And that's fear. Fear's really clever. It pretends to be logic. It whispers, let's get more feedback first, or this isn't the right time to do it. It sounds like you're being the responsible one, but it's just hesitation, just wearing a lanyard.
Yeah, Daniel Kahneman explained it best. We've got two modes of decision making. So system one is fast, it's instinctive, and it's emotional. System two is slow. Now that's very, very careful and deliberate, but we need both. And under stress, most founders default to system one. Quick fixes, constant reacting, no space to reflect.
And that's where these patterns can creep in. The hesitant builder just keeps waiting, hoping certainty will appear. The looping planner keeps refining, researching, but never fully commits. They think they're being smart, but really they're trying to feel safe before they move. The problem is, certainty never comes first. It comes after you've actually made that leap.
How do you break the cycle? Well, two tools we recommend all the time. First, the 5-second rule from Mel Robbins. Feel the hesitation, right, count down 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 and act. Just one small move forward. Second, the pre-mortem from Gary Klein. Imagine your plan failed. Ask what went wrong. Now, fix those weak points before they trip you.
Yeah, and here's something that most people miss. Good decisions happen when you feel safe enough to think clearly, even when you're working alone. Because if you're driving yourself with panic, you'll default to busyness, not clarity. So pause. Go for a walk, step back, but give your mind breathing room. Not everything has to be solved in motion.
Clarity doesn't mean perfect, it just means honest. It means choosing before you feel bulletproof and adjusting once you're in motion.
So if you want momentum, don't just work harder, decide cleaner. Cut the noise, trust the process.
That's the shift. From overthinking to thoughtful action. It's one of the biggest reasons smart people finally move forward instead of staying stuck in their own head.
So once you've cleared that fog and you're thinking straight, the next challenge is what you're actually aiming for. Because if your definition of success is off, you might actually end up winning the wrong game.
That's what we're going to unpack next. How your beliefs about success shape your results, and why so many business owners chase goals that just leave them empty. If you've ever looked at your own business and thought, why am I holding back? Why isn't this working when I know I'm capable? Well, now you know. It's not because you're lazy or broken or even not cut out for it.
It's because you've got a smart brain wired for safety. And what that's trying to do is navigate a world that rewards risk, clarity, and action. And when you don't know how those internal forces work, they will line up and work against you.
But once you can see the patterns, the biases, the self-doubt, the fear wearing a suit, you can stop blaming yourself and start building something better.
So if anything in this video has hit home, don't just nod and move on. What we want you to do is pick one thing you're going to actually change this week. Write it down and then make sure that you do it.
And if you've been stuck in your head, then share this with someone else who needs that same nudge. You don't need to do this alone.
Definitely you don't need to do this alone, because we're building a community of real builders. They're people rewiring how they think and creating businesses that actually align with who they are.
Yeah. So if you're in, subscribe, hit the bell, and we'll keep going, because the next one, it's personal. We're going deep into the why behind your business.